Pascal. You are now rocking with that dude Pascal. We be going wild, Haitian in the building, so original. Got the haters catching feelings. Get your hands up to the ceiling and keep them held high, cause St. Louis isn't ready. Forget about it, goodbye. Hold up, we just saying hi. Five somebody, rise up. Weekdays, catch us live, somebody. Let's go.
Good afternoon. Good evening and good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Pascal Show. Hope you guys are all doing well out there. Hope this show finds you in good spirits, because another day above the dirt is always a blessing. Let's not forget that. We got some things going on in just a little bit over 20 minutes from now. There will be finally a press conference. At least that's what they're saying out here. I mean, you know, last time they said that there was going to be a press conference, and then that press conference didn't happen. It was just a press release. So hopefully this is the real deal, and we ain't just eating up some wasting our time, okay, with more BS. But we'll see what happens here. Like I said, we will definitely see what happens here. So do me a favor before we get into everything, because, you know, we got a little bit of time before we actually have to venture into the press conference, because they say it happens today at noon. That's what they're saying out here in these streets. Of course, these things are subject to change, but of course, what we've heard is it's going to be at noon, 12 p.m. Central Standard Time, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, just so you guys know. So, real quick, before we get into everything, okay, please do me a favor. Hit that like button down below. Crush it, do what it do. Hit that reaction button, please, and thank you. All right, we here for some clarity, okay, and some transparency in this case. I don't know about you guys, but I've been waiting for this conference since he went missing. So I'm very much looking forward to it. Okay. So make sure you hit that like button down below. Okay, send it all the way up. If we can get to 1K before we even get to the press conference, that would be phenomenal. Don't forget to hit that reaction button if you're watching on these other platforms. Please and thank you. Okay, you guys are out here. I appreciate you guys being here. Okay, even on the TikTok. All right. You're not going to be able to hear the press conference from here, but if you want to go over to my YouTube channel, you can. Go check it out over there, or you can stay here and I'll be giving you guys a breakdown of what's going on. Okay. Just so you know. All right. But let's get into this, okay? Don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you're watching on my YouTube channel. Go to my second channel, The Pascal Show Clips, and my third channel, brand new channel called Pascal Raw. Please go over there. Check it out. Subscribe if you can. That'd be greatly, greatly appreciated. Hit that notification bell on all those platforms so you know whenever I go live, whenever I upload, because right now it's random, okay? But it'll be greatly appreciated if you did that, okay? Also, hit that join button down below. Become a member. Check out my Patreon. And, of course, check out PascalMerch.com. We got some good stuff over there. PascalMerch.com. Okay, guys. Okay. Whoo! We got to get into this conversation, y'all. There's a lot that we got to talk about. There's just been some nutty stuff. Obviously, please be sure to go check out the video that I posted first thing this morning. I even put it on the TikTok. I did a TikTok version of this and a longer formatted version of this, okay? I talked about this. It is pretty insane. Obviously, as we wait for this press conference to be like on and popping, and it will be happening very, very soon, okay? Just so you know, it will be happening, and it will be something I'm sure we're all, like I said, I'm hoping that they're not sitting there going, well, you know, everything, we're going to be playing a lot of things close to the vest, so we can't really tell you much. I'll be like, so then why did you do this press conference in the first place, baby? Okay? Don't do me. Don't do us like that. Okay? Give us the full breakdown of everything. Did Jake confess? Did he lie? What's actually going on here? So first thing this morning, and let me pull this up so we can look at this. I'm not playing the whole doggone thing, but I do want to place a little bit of this because, like I said, first thing this morning, I put up a video, and I highly recommend you guys go and check out the video, okay, when you get a second. I'm not breaking it all the way down on this video or on this live. Because eventually we're going to be, because there's so many other things that have been percolating. You know, there's been a lot of coverage, people talking about this at nauseum on the news, et cetera, understandably. But I do want to talk to you guys about what Jake the Fake allegedly did and what's been exposed, allegedly. Now, one thing is for sure. Jake the Fake took police on a wild goose chase. There's reports that he actually confessed. Real talk. There's reports that he actually confessed and said, yeah, I buried him out in this wooded area, you know, in this area off the freeway. And so he takes the police over there, only to find out that he lied. He straight up lied, right? Now, according to Brian Enton, News Nation's Brian Enton, he's saying, which is, by the way, this is crazy, that Jake the Fake actually confessed to a fake inmate, confessing to this fake inmate about what actually happened to Emmanuel and what he did with Emmanuel's remains. Now, here's the thing. So many questions I got, okay? I got so many questions because instantly I'm going, I don't know if I believe all that. I don't know if I believe it for various reasons. Hold on. Let's let Brian Enton say what he needs to say here really quick. Hold on.
Jake Haro told a fake inmate in the jail that he killed baby Emmanuel and put the baby in a trash can in his house. Let me repeat that again. Sources say that Jake Haro told a fake inmate in the jail that he killed baby Emmanuel and put the baby in a trash can in his house. You might be wondering how police got this information.
We're going to stop right there. Now, first off, shout out to Brian Enton. Okay. He been on this. He been on this like a mug, and you know how he is. He's a beast. He's great at what he does, okay? And he gets the job done. Now, this is a very wild piece of information. Very wild piece of information and very shocking, okay? And we're going to continue on. But what's interesting about this is apparently, and according to Brian Enton, he says that the police, after they went on that wild goose chase, they put a fake inmate in his cell. So they basically put a plant in the cell with Jake, which they call the Perkins operation. Now, while this guy is in there, of course, you know, you sitting around, you're bored out of your mind. You know, eventually you're having conversations. And eventually the conversation will veer off to, yo, man, what you in for, dog? That's usually what goes down. And the guy will be like, yeah, man, you know, Grand Theft Auto, you feel me? You know, something like that. But I'm innocent. I didn't do it. I was just in the passenger seat, you feel me? You see what I'm saying? But apparently there was a conversation with Jake, the Fake. And he said that, yes, Emmanuel is gone. And that he took Emmanuel's remains and stuffed them in a trash can on the actual property, on his actual property, which says a couple things, which we'll get here into in a second. But you got to remember, he told police, apparently he really did confess to police, saying that he did unalive Emmanuel. That apparently he rolled over on him while he was sleeping. And when he woke up, Emmanuel was gone, like he had passed away. Right? Passed away. And then he said to the police, yeah, I buried him out in the desert hills on the side of the freeway. And of course, we saw that wild goose chase. Then while he's in this cell with this fake inmate, the fake inmate gets him to confess that yes, Emmanuel is gone, but this time he put the baby in a trash can on the property. Let me just say this. Yeah, Donna, I'm not buying it either. I ain't buying it, y'all. I ain't buying it. I'm really not buying it, guys. I'm not. Oh, no. Let me hold on. Wait. Hold on. Let me rewind really quick. I believe Brian Enton. I do. And that's a really bad frozen face of Brian Enton. That's a lot better. I believe he got this information. I believe that this actually happened. I don't believe what Jake said out of his hole in his face. I don't believe it. Like I said before, fool me once, shame on you. You fool me, you can't fool me again, right? So once I see something like this, I go, he already played police. Why would he turn to a cellmate? Doesn't even matter. Why would he turn to him and go, hey, man, guy I've just met 5 seconds ago, I'm bored. I might as well just confess everything right now because you have such a trustworthy face, given the fact that he's also a criminal. Let's not forget the dude who's in there. Obviously, he's a plant and he's not really a criminal. He's not really an inmate. But at the same time, you really think Jake the fake is going to turn to this inmate and go, I trust you. You got a trustworthy face. I like your face. So I'm going to tell you the truth. Yeah, I did it. And then I put him in a trash can, bro. Yeah, man. Do you really think he's going to do that? Now, what sucks about this situation, let's talk about what I said we were going to talk about later, is that this resorts back to the first theory and the first rumor that was out here, saying that Emmanuel is probably in a landfill. Remember that? Remember there was a whole conversation? Everyone's like, yeah, he was thrown in the dumpster. He was discarded in the dumpster. Don't you know about that? Right? I don't know why it kind of sounded like Cat Williams right there, but Yes, mother lover said he was thrown into a mother loving dumpster. Remember all that? Even shout out to On the Theater. This is not a throwing shade at him at all, but he was also talking about it too. Right? He's like, I'm right here at the landfill on the theater. There's rumor about him being discarded in the landfill. Remember that video? Feels like it happened like 3 months ago, but that happened only like last week, y'all. Crazy. So one thing that's really crappy about this situation, let's talk about it. Let's address the elephant in the room. First off, he lied. Okay, I don't believe it. But what sucks about this situation is that the police are going to have to dive into that, which means they may have to dive into a freaking landfill. Do you understand that? On a possible 50-50 chance that it's a wild goose chase again. Do you realize how much time, effort, monies, man powers, and women's powers, okay, go do you, girl. You realize that's a lot of time and effort to go into a landfill and sift through the landfill for bupkis, potentially bupkis. It's 50-50. Do you really think, like I said, he's going to go, hey, I believe, I'm bored. I just feel like confessing everything to you. I just met you. We've been in this cell for 12 hours. I might as well just tell you the truth. Think about this too. What if the inmate that he was, the cellmate that he was in there with, let's just say he wasn't a plant. Let's just entertain that for a second. Let's just say he wasn't a plant. Okay, you got that idea in your head? Okay. and he was to randomly confess this to that cellmate, you don't think that cellmate could use that to sweeten his time in prison or in jail? You don't think so? So again, the information that's being said here is shocking. It's very interesting. And I'm wondering if it's true, right? But I don't see the likes of Jake the fake trusting another criminal that he doesn't even know from a can of paint information like that. I do believe that he said these things, but I don't think he's telling him anybody the truth. Here's the other part that really, really gets me going. Okay, let's talk about this right quick. Let's just address the elephant in the room. He said that he rolled over on him. He said that he rolled over on his own kid. Now, I'm not sitting here saying that that never happens. There's freak stories that these kind of things happen. Real talk, they do. That's what I feel like that's one of the things that we all as parents get scared of, right? You know, I don't want to pass out because we're so stretched thin on the lack of sleep and all that stuff, to the point where you fall asleep so hard you roll over. That's the fear, that you roll over on your kid or your kid gets a little trapped. But at the same time, this ain't a newborn babe. It's a 7-month-old baby, and you know he was a substantial size. So you just rolled over on him. He didn't notice that he was laying on top of the kid. I'm just saying, I don't know. No. He lie. Okay? He's lying. Have mercy. He is lying. But it's interesting if they did bring a plant. If they really did bring a guy, you know, to act like he a thug in the cell with him, asking him questions. And I don't know about you, but I'd be asking questions. I'd be wondering why. I mean, I'd never be in Jake the fake's shoes, but if I was in his shoes, I feel like I'd be like, why are you asking me questions, bro? I don't know who the F you are. Why are you asking me questions, homie? What's this? Stay on top of the bunk, do your thing, read a book, do some push-ups, okay? I'm not trying to have a conversation with you, bro. I'm not trying to talk to you about why I'm here. The F? We ain't friends. You see what I'm saying? So I feel like he'd just be like, yeah, okay. Rolled over on him and then put him in a trash can. You see what I'm saying? I just feel, I just don't believe it. I believe the information that Brian Enton got is true, but I think he's just straight up lying. And now it'll be up to the police on whether or not they want to comb through a whole landfill on a situation where you got a person of the likes of Jake the Fake, who is a habitual liar. That's the problem. He is a habitual hoaxer. It is a shot in the dark. And a landfill be a landfill. You got to understand that too. That is a huge gamble. And all the while, the baby's remains is somewhere else. So it depends on what they're doing with that information, because that is some shocking stuff. But you also got to remember, homegirl is still standing 10 toes down on, Emmanuel was taken. Right? He said, hola. Just saying. Okay. Now, press conference should be happening here fairly soon, if not in the next minute or two. Okay. So let me just make sure I find the live.
An our team investigating.
Nope. Hold on 1 second. Let me see. Because, of course, when it comes to this particular case, you have to go to 15 different places just to find any information about this, which is wild. Like the press conference, that random impromptu presser that happened outside after their alleged arraignment, right? There we go. Thank you. It's been so all over the place, right? It's been so sloppy. But Court TV's got it. Yeah, baby. Shout out to Court TV. The beast, Court TV. I'm very thankful about that. And I'm going to be real. I know this sounds ridiculous, but I'm very, very thankful that they're doing this press conference. It's about damn time. This is way overdue. But of course, now it's going to be the question that we need to know. Did they find Emmanuel? Is he still out there? Where are they looking? Where specifically are they going to look for Emmanuel? Are they going back to the place where Jake led them to? Do they believe that he actually did bury this young baby boy out there in that area? Or are they saying that's a complete wash and they're back at the drawing board all over again? Those are the things that I hope we get answered here very shortly. Okay, because they're supposed to be having this press conference any minute now. Again, I'm very much looking forward to this. Press conference hasn't started yet. We're looking at it right now as we speak, y'all. Okay. When it gets started, we will be hearing what's going on. Here's the other thing too. When do you think, and this is something different, this has nothing to do with them and what they're going to say in this press conference, but it does have to do with Rebecca. I'm wondering, when do you think she's going to snap? Does anybody know when she's going to snap? Anybody? Anybody wonder if she's going to be like, he did everything? When's she going to turn? She's going to turn. At some point, she's going to wake up at some point and go, oh my gosh, he put me here. It's his fault. He put me here. Why am I protecting this a-hole? He's an a-hole. Wait for it. Because right now she's like, he's a good man. He's a good man. Eventually she's going to turn. She's going to turn. He's not going to be ruling her with an iron fist anymore. He can't reach her. He can't touch her anymore. So eventually, she's going to get back into reality. That's what I truly think. Or she's going to have an orange is the new black moment in jail and realize she don't need the scent and the caress of a strong man no more. She's going to be like, I'm doing just fine. My name is Thunderclap. I don't need you no more. I don't need a man. Wait for it. Think about it. Orange is the new black. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Okay? Okay? And she will be like, I don't need that man no more. You can't touch me, Jake, the fake. Watch. Wait for it. Cornrows and everything. Like I said, neck tattoo. All right? Oh, snap. Here comes Thunderclap. I'm just saying. Wait for it. Wait for it. And she can be like, I don't need a man anymore. My name's Thunderclap. Just wait for it. Wait for it. Okay? Copper Mountain said, he's like, damn, girl, prison changed you. How dare you? I thought you were my girl, man. Prison changed you. Yeah, it most definitely did. Orange is the new black, baby. Lesbian seagull. You know what I'm saying? Nobody? I'm just saying. Wait for it, man. It's coming. So we're still waiting for this press conference, just so you know. Yeah, right. You've been thunderclapped. Oh my God. Oh my God. You've been thunderclapped. You know? Yes, we got the press conference here, guys. Crystal, the press conference is up here. We're waiting for the press conference to happen. Okay. That'd be ridiculous. I don't know why I call it thunderclap, but that just happened. Okay. It's never a dull moment with this show. Okay. They started? That's not true. Hold on. Let me see. KTLA. Whoa, that's weird. They're hella behind on here. Okay. Hold on, guys. Hold on, guys. Oh. Say, can you see? Let's get this. I'm rolling it back a little bit so we can be on point with this, but that's annoying. Let's take a look. Oh, crap. I got to mute the other one. Hold on. Where the heck is it? That's very odd because the picture's a lot better over there, but that's fine. Let's take a look at this, guys. Sorry about that. I'm going to roll it back so we all hear it.
Sheriff's Office for their professionalism and their cooperation and the great work that they've done here so far. I want to thank Jason Anderson and the San Bernardino
Taking notes.
Office. His Bureau of Investigation has recently formed a high-tech crimes unit. They were instrumental in helping us with this investigation. Let me tell you how things are going to go today. There's going to be several individuals that make statements up here, and then when we're all done with the short statements, I will come back up and we will have a question and answer. I will take questions. I will take all of your questions till there are no more questions. Having said that, there's a lot that we can't say, that I can't say, that nobody up here can say. And the reason is that the defendants in this case have been charged with crimes, serious crimes. And so now they have a presumption of innocence that applies to them. They're innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. I'm not allowed to prove my case in the court of public opinion. And so there's a lot that we can't say in terms of the facts and the evidence. For that, you will have to come to the court and to the various hearings and see how the case plays out. However, having said that, it's appropriate to have a press conference because
it's about time.
It was the defendants in this case that had a press conference first. And they did so.
They did.
To tell the public, the media,
lies,
and ultimately law enforcement that their child had been kidnapped, when in fact that's not what occurred. And so we're here to clear up some misconceptions and to explain how this case unfolded in terms of the investigation. It involves two counties working very well together. I know everybody up here on this stage, we work well together normally, but in this case, I'm very proud of the work that was done by Riverside County Sheriff, San Bernardino County Sheriff, my office, and also the District Attorney's Office in San Bernardino County. All right, so we'll go ahead and kick this off.
Let's go.
I'm going to bring up first San Bernardino County Sheriff Shannon Dicus.
So sound is coming out in the left ear.
To Mike's point, I want to thank all of you in the media for covering this, specifically the parents' initial statements to the public while we were trying to find Emmanuel. They became critical as we continued through this investigation. But I want to talk about a little bit about the process because we've seen a number of questions related to Amber Alerts and things like that. So I hope when I finish this that everybody understands the course of the investigation.
It's about damn
the
time,
investigation started for us on August 14th.
Okay.
When Rebecca Haro reported that her son had been kidnapped. Folks, within 24 hours through video surveillance, we found inconsistencies in Rebecca's statement. And as a result of that, there was no other vehicle to put out on an Amber Alert or anything. And I know many of you were wondering why that didn't occur. But really, after finding out those inconsistencies in the statement on the initial report, that's where hundreds of hours of investigations have come in by our specialized investigations division to try to get to the bottom of what's really going on here. And when I say hundreds of hours, I'm talking about forensics, forensic data on vehicles, phones, and potential crime scenes, judicial authorized search warrants that were served. And through that process, that's where we learned that the jurisdiction of where this has occurred was in Riverside County. So hence the Riverside County DA and Riverside County Sheriff's Department, which I can't stress enough. We've had a long-term partnership. We work well together and we know how to get things done in these environments. But that's why the jurisdiction had changed from the original jurisdiction that was reported in, which is Yucaipa, California. But as we went through that portion of the investigation and realized that these things had happened in Riverside County, you saw the culmination of all the different entities get involved. And going back to what Mike mentioned about the DA's office in San Bernardino County and high-tech crimes, forensically, there are a number of things that we were able to prove up that we're not going to be able to share today exactly how we did that, but there is a tremendous amount of evidence that suggests that the initial story posed was not the correct story. So in that partnership with our agencies, I'm going to introduce my partner, Chad Bianco, where this crossover occurred at Riverside, and we reached out to Mike, who's obviously filing the case, and of course, Chad to assist us in the investigation. Chad?
So a jurisdictional thing. It was a
Thank you. I'd
jurisdictional
like
thing in the
Sheriff
beginning.
Dicus, I just want to thank all of you for, especially the normal mainstream media, for your attention to this and for your cooperation in this as we were assisting San Bernardino in this investigation, trying to originally find a missing baby, but then eventually quickly learning that that investigation was not something that it started as. Not so much for social media and keyboard warriors who quite honestly sometimes hamper and prevent us from a good investigation. I do want to expand a little bit about our relationship with San Bernardino. A lot from the media, a lot of questions have been raised about jurisdiction. And what Sheriff Dicus and I routinely talk about to our own communities isn't really necessarily displayed in the media or said to the media, but neither one of us care about jurisdiction. Our belief is that the Inland Empire is better served when we are cooperating and working together. And in this investigation from the very beginning, it was obvious that it could involve both counties. When something like that happens, particularly in this case, the original investigation began with Sheriff Dicus, and if he chooses to take it to the end, he will, which obviously he did. And my position is Sheriff Dicus is responsible for this and the assistance of my department. So there is no asking us, there is no anything like that. It is, we have to serve our public best, and he has every single available resource that the Riverside County Sheriff's Office has to offer to make sure that we provide justice in this case. This is an extensive investigation with both agencies that ultimately is headed by the supervisor of the Detective Bureau from the Sheriff's Office in San Bernardino. But the cooperation, as you can see, between the both counties is what is going to bring this to a successful conclusion. There is absolutely nothing, no crime more important than the injury of a human being, particularly a child. And the amount of resources that were expended to find this baby and to ultimately bring the people to justice responsible for the loss of this baby, I can't even tell you the amount of resources that were expended in this. It is a massive investigation that will obviously be ongoing, and we appreciate your efforts. This involves a lot of things, though, from us, and hopefully there are more questions to be answered, but I'll end it by saying this before we get into more
Details.
questions specifically about this case.
Come on now.
This was preventable in numerous ways. The amount of response we have had from the public, the enormous anger that a child was not only originally thought to be kidnapped, but then presumably murdered. kind of warms my heart a little bit that there is compassion still out there. There
They
is
don't have
care
'em.
about other people. There is people actually do care about other people.
They don't have him. He's still
There
missing
is
out there.
absolutely nothing worse than harming a baby. Broken bones,
At least that's what they're alluding.
life-altering trauma. And had that case been successfully handled how it should have been, Emmanuel would still be with us today. So I thank you all for taking the time and the effort to make sure that the world sees this investigation, and we will successfully bring it to conclusion with the help of both DA's offices.
He said presumably
Sure.
emmed.
I neglected to
Air
mention,
quotations. Interesting.
that, Sergeant Nicholas Clark is the lead investigator on this case. So even though he's San Bernardino County, he will be functioning as the lead investigator on this case, which is ongoing. The investigation is ongoing, even though we have filed charges. And then Brandon Smith is going to be the lead prosecutor on the case, obviously Riverside County prosecutor. And with that,
Come on.
obviously, you all know, yesterday in
Details.
court, we filed murder charges on both Jake and Rebecca Haro.
Yeah.
We also filed filing of a false police report. And with that, I will take questions. I know you're going to have a lot of questions. I do want to let you know. The way we do it here is don't shout at me, no chaos, just raise your hand. I ask you to ask me one question at a time. I'll do my best to call on everybody. When we've gotten through everyone who has a question, then we can go back and ask more follow-ups, okay? So I'll start here on the front row. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, they're going into questions right now. Yeah, where's the baby?
You know, yes, we have a pretty strong indication of where the remains of baby Emmanuel are.
Okay.
That investigation is ongoing at this time.
Where, though?
What was the information that led to the initial search off the 60 in Moreno Valley?
Sheriff, you want to take that?
I'm not going to go into grave detail about that, but there is some level of cooperation with the suspects involved in this, and we're trying to locate that, and our job is to follow every lead. But for the rest of the room here, we have to understand what you're dealing with is an experienced child abuser that is aware of a previous case, that is aware of evidentiary things that we are certainly concerned with. So we're going to take every step to not only work with any suspect or witness involved in this, because at the end of the day,
Yes, sir.
What? What the hell was that?
We charged both Jake and Rebecca with murder. Who's next? Yeah, go ahead, Rob.
This is in reference to what Matt was talking about, but can you go into some detail about that case in 2023 and what happened there?
Sure.
And from my understanding,
Yes, I will. So in 2018, Jake Haro with his ex-wife, there's another child who they were prosecuted for child abuse as well, child neglect, cruelty. That child was also an infant, and that came to the courts, arrested in 2018. It came in to the courts in 2023. We had charged various felony crimes, child abuse, child cruelty, and our indication or our what we wanted out of the case was prison. We believed it was a prison case, and that Jake Haro should have gone to prison. Jake Haro pled straight up to the court, which sometimes reporters get this wrong, and you call it a plea bargain. Judges are not allowed to plea bargain. Defendants can plea bargain with the prosecutor, but when a defendant pleads up to the court, they plead to everything that they've been charged with, and they're essentially throwing themselves on the mercy of the court. In this case, a judge here in Riverside County happened to have been a visiting judge from San Bernardino County, gave Mr. Haro a suspended sentence, which means, if I can translate for you what that is, it means that instead of sending him to prison, he chose to give him probation and suspend prison time sort of over his head, meaning that if he violated his probation, he would then go to prison. My prosecutor in the courtroom objected to that and said on the record, we object. We think it's a prison case. You should send him to prison. And the judge decided, as is the judge's right to do in that case, he decided that Mr. Haro deserved an extra break and gave him probation and basically 180 days of work release, which ends up being like community service. I will say that it was an outrageous error in judgment by this judge. And I don't have any problem saying that. I'm not attacking the judge personally. That decision was absolutely outrageous. Mr. Haro should have been in prison at the time that this crime happened. And if that judge had done his job as he should have done, Emmanuel would be alive today. And that's a shame, and it's an outrage. And I hate to say that, but when our criminal justice system breaks down, I'm going to just call it like it is and tell you it broke down. It's not how it's supposed to work. The judge had obviously meant well. At the end of their sentence, he told Jake, I'm giving you a big break today. Don't mess it up. But I want to point something out to you. I want to read to you the injuries. The child's name is Carolina. She is still alive today.
Her name is Promise.
Permanently bedridden. She has permanent damage, cerebral palsy, that is a result of long-term child abuse. I want to read to you the injuries that were presented in court to this judge at the time of that previous prosecution. Acute fracture of the posterior left rib, 5th rib, healing fractures of the posterior lateral 6th, 7th, and 10th through 12th ribs, healing fractures of the 6th and 9th through 12th ribs, partial bone fracture of the skull, brain hemorrhage, significant prevertebral soft tissue swelling of the neck, and a healing tibia fracture of the right leg. This is severe abuse for an infant. And so whatever you think of the criminal justice system and people need a break, someone who does that to a child belongs in prison, period. Next question. Not to my knowledge, no. Yes. I'm not going to, I can't speculate. I'll repeat what I already said. We believe that Emmanuel was severely abused over a period of time, and that that's the reason for the filing, the way it was, is that he was abused over a period of time. Both parents would have been aware of that abuse. I've already called on you, so I'm going to exhaust. Yes, sir. No, one question, sir. One question. I didn't say that, sir. I didn't say I know where the remains are.
On the tira.
Well, you should get some rest, sir. You should get some rest. But no, I can't share with you anything. Look, there are professionals that are looking for the remains of this child. If the public has any information, then we ask for their help. So we don't know exactly where the remains are. We have some ideas in terms of where we're going to look and where we're going to continue to investigate. Yes, sir, all the way in the back. No, I'm not going to do that. That's unfortunately, I understand it's an obvious question, but I just can't go into it. Those are things that the evidence will be presented in court, and I'll have to wait till we do that.
I'm assuming he asked, how do they know that she lied? about the kidnapping.
All I can explain is what we have filed. We filed murder charges on both of them and making a false police report on both of them. So you can extrapolate that.
What the hell was that? What? Hold on, guys. Oh, that's so dumb. That is so dumb. What the hell? What the hell? Okay. Here we go. What the hell was that?
Well, you should get some rest, sir. You should get some rest. But no, I can't share with you anything. Look, there are professionals that are looking for the remains of this child. If the public has any information, then we ask for their help. So we don't know exactly where the remains are. We have some ideas in terms of where we're going to look and where we're going to continue to investigate. Yes, sir, all the way in the back. No, I'm not going to do that. Unfortunately, I understand
this feed is terrible,
but I just can't go into it. Those are things that the evidence will be presented in court, and I'll have to wait till we do that. Who's next? Yes, sir.
Can you explain, I know they both have charges filed against them. Do you believe that Jake or Rebecca both were actively involved in abusing Emmanuel, or like she was complicit in what he was doing, or the other way around? Can you explain any more of that?
All I can explain is what we have filed. We filed murder charges on both of them and making a false police report on both of them. So you can extrapolate
nothing
that
burger,
we
nothing
both
burger,
of
nothing
them
burger.
are guilty, that we can prove it's guilty beyond a reasonable doubt for both the murder and the filing of the false police report. You know, how it breaks down as to who did what, that also has to wait for the trial. So let me go this way. Okay.
This is a nothing burger, guys.
Pues ya dije lo que puedo decir. Fue una tragedia increíble y no hubiera sucedido. El juez hizo un gran error y juzgó mal y el sistema se quebró ese día. Jueces, fiscales, defensores, todos tenemos un deber y tenemos que hacer nuestro deber en nuestro trabajo. Todo lo que puedo decir. Claro que no. Le dio libertad condicional y esto fue un caso de prisión. Cuando uno hace daño hacia un niño, debería ir a prisión. Eso es lo que dice la ley. La ley dice que la sentencia debe ser prisión por crímenes de este nivel de gravedad. Y en este caso le dio probation. Okay. Let me go to you. I haven't called on you yet. No, unfortunately, I can't. That has to wait for the trial to come out. Yes, sir.
Given the history that Jake has been obviously charged with previous child abuse cases, has CPS been involved with Emmanuel throughout his life at all, or have they ever checked with him?
To my knowledge, CPS has not been involved with Emmanuel. I don't believe there was any CPS involvement in this current case. Let me go. I've already called on you. So have I called on you already? No, go ahead, please. I can tell you that that's not true. It's there's no confession made in jail. I'll go back there and then I'll come back to you, Rob. Yes. Go ahead, sir. Yeah. Well, there's the 2-year-old and then baby Emmanuel. Yeah. Going back there. Yes, ma'am. Yeah. You know, a no-body homicide is always difficult, but obviously with an infant, we know that baby Emmanuel didn't, leave on his own or is not, didn't leave town. Obviously, it's a little different when you're talking about an infant, but we have a lot of experience in this county trying no-body homicides, and we're confident that we can gain convictions in this case. Yes, ma'am. Well, I think Sheriff Dyke has already explained that. He answered that question by saying there's been a level of cooperation with the defendants. So that's why they went to that area. But beyond that, that's all I can say. Yes, ma'am. Well, see, that's not true. So I don't know where no. See, this is what happens when you've got all these folks out there online and these keyboard warriors. You get a lot of misinformation. And what you just said is not true. It's misinformation. So that's what I'll tell you did not happen. Okay. I can't talk about the facts of the case. Well, no, I'm giving you information about baby Emmanuel. I'm giving you information about the cases and the investigation, but what you just said did not happen. So, that's not, I can't be responsible for when you guys get it wrong.
What was it that she just asked? Because I couldn't hear that. What was misinformation? Can somebody say that in the chat? Because I missed that.
Yeah, I'm just not going to comment on that. We're looking for the remains. These investigation is continuing. We're hoping to find the remains of baby Emmanuel. Yeah, please, Sheriff.
This is to that and to the question before. A problem that we are having in this, basically even on the question that was asked 2 questions ago, is someone posts something on social media and then you all believe that it's true. I actually complimented the mainstream media because you've actually been reaching out to us for comment and actually been printing what we've told you. It hasn't been the sensationalism and the wants for clicks for social media. And that is doing nothing but harming this investigation. And when you form your opinion and come in here and ask questions like that, you're not serving the public in any way. The question way earlier, get some rest. There should be no one out there looking for baby Emmanuel except for us, because all you're going to do is complicate things in the future. And the one thing that I emphasize that I want to make it clear here,
Yeesh.
the reason this is happening relatively quickly and the reason why we got such a handle on this fast is I believe that the Inland Empire is served better by their 2 sheriff's offices than any place in the state. And this particular case doubled its efforts. So instead of having 4,500 people looking for baby Emmanuel, you had 9,000. And so how did we get all of this information? It's called investigation. And we have 2 entire departments doing nothing but sifting through evidence, searching for evidence, trying to figure out what happened, who was responsible, and how we're going to successfully prosecute it. And misinformation, lies, and purposeful misdirection is going to do nothing but harm this investigation. And I am begging all of you with cameras out here, don't be a part of it.
Okay.
He said what he said.
You wasted yours in English? I'll get back to you. No, I've already called on you. I'll go ahead. I started with you. Go ahead.
And actually, it was for Sheriff Bianco. I just wanted to follow up with you because the way you were talking about what should never happen is that injury to a child. How does this compare to other things that you see? You mentioned broken bones in children. I'm you impact me by the way you said that. So I wanted to know how this impacted you.
So I have to, cops get a bad rap of being just heartless souls. I will tell you that most police officers are parents, either dads or moms. And there is nothing more traumatic for us to go through than an injury, a death, or harm to a child. Nothing. And there is absolutely nothing that we want more than to bring these investigations to a successful conclusion. And when we talk about why we're here in the first place, that we believe someone murdered baby Emmanuel, who should still be in prison, but we have this unbelievable love for criminals, believing that they're somehow victims, and now we're all traumatized by it. We were all in this room a couple of years ago when I had a deputy murdered because someone was out on the street that should have been life in prison, but a judge let them go. We have an absolute breakdown of the justice system, and we are not preventing other children from being harmed when someone like Jake is allowed to be out on the streets harming children. And so the anger that I have, the frustration that I have, then combined with the misinformation and everything else, when for all of us and our employees, there is nothing more important to us than the death of a human, particularly a child.
I'm going to work the back. Yes, sir. Well, we've got a lot of evidence. We're going to have to play that out in court. I can't lay it out here today. Okay. So yes, right next to him. I don't know if we're going to see the arrest warrant today. So that's a pretty short answer for Spanish. So yeah. Go ahead, sir. Go ahead, and then I'll come back to you. I just can't say. I'm not going to give a timeline. Obviously, baby Emmanuel, we have a theory as to when his death occurred. So, and then I've also shared that we believe that when the parents came forward, it was to tell the public something that wasn't true. Going which way? Go ahead. There's a lot of witnesses. Investigators are tracking down every lead. I'm not going to focus in on who's a relative and who isn't. There's a lot of witnesses in the case that are shedding light. Yes, ma'am. Right. So I'm not going to say, as Sheriff Bianco just mentioned, when you have members of the public that are out there doing their own searches, all it does is potentially prejudice and damage the case. So please let the sheriff's departments do their job. They know how to do this, right? We're helping with them, anything they need from us, but they are the ones driving this investigation, and they will track down every lead. I have all the confidence in both of these great sheriffs and their great departments. This investigation is ongoing, yes.
He's got a point, but I feel something about that.
All of that misinformation that we're seeing on social media. Has a plea deal been offered to either Jake or Rebecca? Is that a possibility? And is this a death penalty case?
It's not a death penalty case. We did not and were not able to file special circumstances, and that's what would be required for it to be eligible for the death penalty. This is, we filed 2 counts of homicide, which in this case is murder, against both Jake and Rebecca. So not a death penalty case. What was the other?
Has a plea deal been offered
No.
to either one, and is that still a possibility?
No. We're not interested in a plea bargain with these individuals. We're interested in a trial and
No
getting
plea
to
bargain. Okay.
justice. Yes, sir.
Where are we in terms of representation for these defendants?
I don't know. That's not something that I have any knowledge of. Going back, yes, ma'am. I think you just answered your own question. Of course, this is an investigation. We're searching for evidence. We've got two great sheriff's departments doing what they do best. So if there's a chance to find baby Emmanuel's remains, these men and women of these two agencies will do it.
Emmanuel has not been found, guys. Has not.
Estamos aquí porque estamos acusando formalmente a Jake y Rebecca Haro de homicidio y de presentar un reporte falso a la policía. Los padres del bebé de 7 meses permanecen detenidos bajo una fianza de $1 millón. Y más de eso no puedo comentar porque no puedo hablar sobre la evidencia en el caso porque eso tiene que suceder en un tribunal.
Yeah, no DP on this one either. On this case, no DP.
No puedo comentar.
No plea deal.
Dije
DP.
que sí, estamos convencidos que el bebé fue abusado por un periodo de tiempo, o sea, tiene 7 meses, o sea, sobre su vida de 7 meses, que fue abusado sobre tiempo. Yes, sir.
Just for clarification, maybe sheriff's department, not sheriff. There was a call for service that was generated by Jake that we investigated concerning a child abuse case. And that's all I can give you on that. And it was in Moreno Valley. No, not at this time.
Yeah. Can you confirm any of that? The Home Depot, Sawzall.
I think we've answered that already. If you are not getting information from his office or my office,
It's fake news.
You are doing our public an unbelievable disservice. We don't care what someone posts on social media. And
They
if
going
you all are
in on
going to
social
believe
media.
that and then generate questions based on those comments,
Damn.
we're not going to get anywhere in this.
Damn.
If it did not come from our two agencies, stop believing it. That's all I can tell you.
Don't believe the hype, apparently. Damn. They're doing it in Spanish again. They're just going in. I don't think they're only going in on the tierra. I think they're just going in on social media in general.
Responsables de la muerte de su bebé por la evidencia que
Because
ya tenemos. Y es cierto que no tenemos.
I have some thoughts on that.
Pero tenemos bastante evidencia y nosotros estamos convencidos
thoughts on that.
Que fueron responsables.
We'll talk about it in a second.
De su hijo. All right, going forward. Where am I? Did you have another question? Go ahead.
This is for Sheriff Ted Bianco. When you guys were on the 6th freeway in the Badlands area searching, we did notice that Jake was out there with the sheriff's department. Was Jake trying to cooperate at any time with the sheriff during that search?
So we've answered that question. So that was Sheriff Dykes that answered that question of why they were out there. He said that there was some level of cooperation with the defendants, and that's all we can say. Yep, that's all we can say.
I mean, I'll put myself down. I'll turn myself down even more.
Do you feel that there are people that let this baby down? Not only that judge who let Jake Haro down, but we're talking about 7 months of child abuse or several months of child abuse. Do you think there are other people who failed this baby possibly by not reporting what they were seeing, what they thought was happening?
Well, certainly this baby was failed by his parents. So that's first and foremost. So yes, beyond that, I can't comment. But yes, everybody failed this baby that was close to him. Yes. Yeah. So I can't comment on the evidence in this case, but what I can tell you is that modern homicide investigations are very tech heavy. And we have two very modern, cutting edge sheriff's departments in Riverside County and in San Bernardino County. And so, yes, what you mentioned was the high tech crimes unit of the San Bernardino DA's office, their Bureau of Investigation. They assisted. And beyond that, I can't say what they found. That can't get into the evidence. But yeah, this case is going to be built on, like almost all homicide cases now, electronic, digital evidence. It all comes into play.
They should be wrapping up by now.
Family ever seek medical attention for baby Emmanuel since he was born to the day he was missing?
I can't comment on that. Sorry.
Yeah, evidence. There's a lot of things they're not going to be able to say
What's
anything
next
at all.
is, first and foremost, the investigation will continue, and it's led by the San Bernardino Sheriff's Department, and then also Riverside County Sheriff's Department assisting, and then the prosecution will begin. We filed the case. The case will begin to work its way through the criminal justice system here in Riverside County. Other folks, yes, we're coming to the end here. I think. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think so too.
Not at this time. No, we're not looking at anybody else. We believe that this is the filings in court that will be in this case. Now that could change if new evidence comes in. Yes, sir. I'm not aware of a house fire next door. So, yes, sir. I'm not going to comment. Sorry, I can't talk about that.
You can't answer anything. Understandably. Hold on, guys.
Sí. Sí. Podría cambiar si encontramos más evidencia y la situación cambia, los cargos pueden cambiar. Anything else? I think we're closing up here. Anybody have any last questions? Yes, go ahead. Do you know when?
I wish they had a
September
microphone.
4th. The court day will be September 4th. All right. Thank you all for coming.
Okay. I'm turning my mic back up, so turn the volume down if I'm too loud or something. All right. Now here's the thing. Here's the thing. Okay. First and foremost, let me just say this. He's not wrong, okay, with what they said about like social media and, the internet journalists going in on, like there's been a lot of rumors, a lot of things that have been flying out the gate. That is very true. There's been a lot of things that have been wild. It's been wilding out here in these streets. A lot of speculation, a lot of theories. Now, I want to make this abundantly clear before we go into talking about that and all that, okay? Because that I feel like is a small topic, in my personal opinion, in comparison to everything else, which, by the way, is nothing, because that was one big nothing burger. I mean, one thing is for sure. They are still looking for baby Emmanuel. Emmanuel has not been found. They are still looking for that little baby boy. Okay, that is basically it. All right. Now, of course, there has been a lot of information that has been out here. That's been a lot of rumor. Like for example, let's talk about it. The rumor that you guys keep on sending me emails about and DMs about, which is driving me crazy, to be honest, about Rebecca. So apparently there's another Rebecca out here in these streets with the same last name as hers. Not Haro, but Bushausen or about Bushausen, Beeshausen, whatever, however you say her maiden last name. Okay. People are out here sending me messages, DMs, emails about, this girl is her. You know, back in the day, she faked a pregnancy and all this stuff. It's not her, y'all. It's not her. You see what I'm saying? There's certain things that are just absolutely going nuck and futz in the internet, on these internet streets. Yes, there's been a lot of speculation and a lot of rumors that have been flying all over the place. And that's why you try to sift through that information as best as you can. I don't think there's anything wrong on going in and saying, you know, like asking those questions about those things that might be big topics, like, hey, did he really confess to police and go out there with police after he confessed, right? Or it's the situation of, hey, you know, a source says to a prominent investigator, you know, or an investigative reporter that he was confiding in this fake inmate about what actually happened to Emmanuel. I think that is, of course, when you hear those things, you're like, holy crap, could this actually be true? And if it's true, is he really telling the truth? You see what I'm saying? So there's certain things that do go on out here. Like, okay, let's not forget. Shout out to Andatira, okay? Andatira, all right, has been diligently trying to find this kid. And I've even said it myself. When you're doing investigative work, you're going to go down avenues that lead to nothing, lead to literally dead ends, or lead to routes that aren't even fully colored and drawn in and painted. You see what I'm saying? They don't even exist. You go down that route, you're like, nope, it's nothing here. It's blank. It's a blank canvas. Okay, turn around. We're going back to the source. That's what happens. That's what they're doing too. Let's not forget, police are doing that too. Police are going down every single rabbit hole they can think of. And then, they're trying to figure out which ones actually connect to the case and which other ones are just not even correct at all, that are all just fake, right? I think that's something that I think is incredibly important to keep in mind. They're doing the same doggone, I'm sorry, I'm saying it. They're doing the same doggone thing as these internet journalists are doing. The only thing is the internet journalists are saying it out loud to people and they're just keeping it close to the vest. Okay? That's it. That's what I truly think. And I also think this too. Think about all the things that were being said about the other cases that we've talked about on this show. They always have a problem with social media or content creators that get their nose all up in their business. And sometimes, I'm not sitting here saying all the times, but sometimes the internet journalists get more information faster than the police. Sometimes they get information that's actually accurate. That's 110%. And then the police get mad about that because then they look like they're not doing their job. You see what I'm saying? So all I'm saying is, like, here it is. I'm not sitting here saying, I'm not trying to defend the police. I'm not trying to defend content creators. I just think that there's a lane for both of them. There's plenty of space and plenty of room for every single case for this. And this also happens all the time. There are people out here that are uncovering information just like the police. Only thing is that they're saying it out loud. Some people are out here blatantly making things up, though. And that is true. There are people out here, man, I saw something online and I literally lost my mind. Okay. There was some BS. Okay. There was some serious BS that came out where they said, Emmanuel's head was found in a landfill. And I'm like, where the hell did you get, where's that information? Who's out here? And then they're showing like AI content or old content from another case, and they're showing like people digging through dirt, you know what I mean, acting like they're looking like they found the head of this baby boy. I mean, it's the dumbest thing. Those kinds of people are doing bad. They're just making clicks, or they're making content for clicks. Okay, they're basically making glorified true crime fan fiction. That's what they're doing. Now, the likes of somebody like On the Tira or any of these other people that have been diligently going out here and trying to find this baby boy, they're doing it. I truly think that they're doing it because they care, because they want to find this kid. Yes, it can get sloppy, but that's what happens in most investigations until it gets tidied up. Like I used this example, this analogy back a couple days ago. Okay, same thing. Like, have you ever watched Law and Order SVU or the original Law and Order? They'll be sent on a wild goose chase on so many different angles. You know, they'll find a gone college girl, right? She was viciously AR'd or something like that. Some sort of S crime going on. And they'll be like, oh yeah, you know, the fishmonger down the street said he saw a shadowy figure. And then they go over to the guy about that. And then that guy at the fishmonger goes, yeah, I ran into this shadowy figure. He was asking me for a smoke. So I looked down, I'm about to, pull it up, pull out my cigarettes and light him a smoke. And he just ran off. But I saw a whole bunch of red on his shirt. It was weird. It's really weird. And I was wondering what the hell was going on. I even asked him if he was okay. And he was fine. Right. And then, of course, Olivia and, the other characters go off and they realize that, oh, that shadowy figure was just a regular, college kid on a run. And he went and got a raspberry jelly donut or something crazy like that. And it spilled all over his shirt. So it was just raspberry jam or, jelly from a donut that he ate. So, that didn't work out. And then they go back to zero. And then they can, you know what I mean? And then they go back to zero and they find other paths to finding who the person did this. You see what I'm saying? That is Crystal, I don't know what episode that is exactly, but at the same time, it's almost like every single episode. Haven't you noticed that? It's very episodic. It's very by the notes, right? By the note. Okay? Real talk. Every time, Like young Michael is like, oh man, look, and they're at the crime scene, and they see like a sticker, okay, for some sort of S club or something like that. No, well, we got to go over to that S club, and they walk in, and it's like all this weird stuff, like you walked into the Matrix, or like they went into like a 9 Inch Nails cosplay party. You know what I mean? It's like, and people is the songs are being played, and it's the music's like all German or something, you know what I mean? And everyone's wearing black leather scraps. But then they go over to the guy who actually owns the S club, you know what I mean? He's like, yeah, I saw him here. Crazy little fella was asking for that yay. But we don't provide that kind of stuff, We got code words, and we keep it pretty clean here. And then, this whole place gets cleaned up just in time for Bible study. Oh, wow. That's interesting. Okay. Well, can you at least point us in the direction of the guy? Right? And then they go off, and then they go to the guy, and they realize that that's not the guy. And then they go back to square one. And then they finally find out that the guy, like the best friend, is the one who, off the dude or something crazy like that. It's always that, right? Damn near the guy is damn near twiddling his mustache. Like, you're never going to get me. You know what I'm saying? Come on, guys. Come on. It's typical. That's every SVU show. Sorry, not sorry. So you take that, you click it, and you put it on top of any crime that is in real life. It's pretty much the same thing. They go off leads, okay? They go, Brian Koberger. Oh, there's a Hyundai Elantra out in Oregon. They go out there to see if it's the actual car. Well, no, it's not. They go back. You see what I'm saying? It's just normal, the regular process of investigation. The only difference is that they keep things close to the vest. They're not saying these things on YouTube. They're not saying these things on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram. They're not saying any of those things anywhere. They're keeping it close to the vest. And when they make a mistake, we're not hearing about it. These online journalists, they're going after every single lead and they're talking about it. That's the only difference. And here's the thing. I truly feel, okay, that they don't want the public to be so hot on the trail. They want to collar the bad guys. They want to unearth the truth. They want to find Emmanuel. Now, hold on. Let me say this really quick. I agree with, hey, step back. We got people looking in areas. You don't need to be out there trying to find Emmanuel. Because you could potentially contaminate an area. You could contaminate evidence and all that. I appreciate, and this is not a dig at anybody who's out there boots on the ground. I commend you guys I salute y'all for doing that. You don't have to do that, but you're doing it because you care. But at the same time, I could see things getting complicated or potentially complicated if you were to stumble upon a situation and, you get your hands all up in it. You see what I'm saying? So that's the only thing I say on that, But you saw the sheriff, get a little mad, get a little passionate. And I understand that's what they have to do. But I still think that things that were being said, on the Tira, on his show, on his channel, when he interviewed the guy who actually had the footage of allegedly having footage of Rebecca with the marking on her face days before she reported Emmanuel missing. She brought him in. Like he brought that guy in and interviewed him. I don't think that guy's making it up. The pawn shop guy, exactly, Copper. I believe that. Okay? I believe that. I don't think he would sit there and just, hey, man, let me have you come over here and just spread fake information. Nah. That ruins the integrity of his channel. That ruins the integrity of who he is. Of Ahmed. I don't think he would risk it all like that. That'd be a bad move. But that's what happens. And I also will say this. There's information that's going to be said, or there's going to be information that they're not going to tell us. Like I said, this press conference, which even though I still really do appreciate this press conference, I do. It was a nothing burger. Okay. It was a nothing burger. One of the things that we did learn, which by the way, we already knew about these things, that Emmanuel he basically suffered for over a very long period of time, for lack of a better term. And it was at the hands of not only Jake, but also Rebecca. Both of them. That's why they both are getting hit with the M charge, because there are certain things that you just can't deny. Both parents were they were dog water. They were subhuman to their own kid. Now, one thing I wanted to know is what was on the surveillance footage when they went in allegedly, because they went in and showed, because this is what his lawyer said this, unless he's a liar too. But he said the lawyer came in and showed footage to the couple. What did the footage show? That's one thing I wanted to have answered. Because they know for a fact, they said she lied. She most definitely lied. So clearly there was some evidence in there, enough evidence for her or for them to believe she mother loving lied and that she's a liar. And there's no question about that. She is a liar. What did they find out? The other part that I thought was interesting is, of course, everyone's wondering, he went out into the fields, okay? He went out into them fields with the police. Did he confess or not? And they're like, we can't disclose that. And you know, see, that's why you shouldn't be getting your information from the internet, from social media, you see. It's like, what? Really? But why would you take him out in the first place then? And by the way, that's not only social media, baby. That's also legacy media saying that as well. They're all asking the same doggone questions, guys. Did he confess? He must have confessed. If he's out here in the fields. Out here in the field. You know what I mean? Like he's out in the fields with police. You see what I'm saying? Media did say that too. Media did make conversations about it too. Like I said, you know, don't worry. Like, here it is. We will always keep asking questions. If there is a trending topic, you know, a trending topic on this specific case that everybody and their mom is talking about, yeah, we're talking about it. I don't think there's anything wrong with doing that because those are the questions that people are asking. Is it true that he confessed? Did he really talk to somebody in a, did he really, you know, was he in a cell with a dude and the dude was a fake inmate and it was like, hey man, what you in for, bro? Did that actually really happen? Or not? But they're like, oh, that's a fugazi. Okay. Val, I did do that. Yes, I did. I don't know why it popped in my head, but it did. Okay. But again, see what I'm saying? So again, it's kind of a double-edged sword because I think, and we talked about this yesterday. Somebody did it in a super chat, and I'm going to get to the super chats here in a little bit. But they said that, social media has a tendency to muck things up, make things murky for these cases. And I say, I disagree. I think there are moments when it gets bad, but I also know what the energy is about. I truly believe the energy there is for the common good, to keep the awareness out there, that people are passionate about this case or any specific case, and they just want justice. And the thing I think is that police can feel the pressure. That's what it is. I truly think that's what it is. Okay? I think that they instantly start feeling the pressure because everyone's like, where's the baby? Where's the baby? Where's the baby? Tapping on the shoulder. Excuse me. Hi. Where's the baby? Like, and they do that over and over and over again. And it's like, we're doing our best. We're doing our best. And then people are calling into the sheriff's office. Where's the baby? Is the baby there? Are you with the baby? Is the baby there? Did you find the baby? Did you go to the Lansfield? Did you go out in the fields again and look where you were with Jake? And they're asking that over and over and over and over and over again. They're like, can you all just shut up? But here's the thing. If you don't apply pressure, then we don't get press conferences. Then we don't get the arrests of these two. Or any of these other situations. Remember Riley Strain? Hold up. Remember Riley Strain? Remember the family basically saying, hey, we want some transparency, and nobody's been telling you. Nashville PD ain't saying nothing to us about what happened to our son. Any leads, anything. They're not talking to us. What the F? What happened? They got onto social media. They started talking to the likes of myself, to plenty of other platforms, making this some awareness about that. And guess what? The very next day, what happened? They had a press conference. That's the only reason why they get angry and upset, in my personal opinion, about social media. Because they don't like the pressure on them. They want to come out here and go, look, we caught the big fish. Don't you see? That's the big ass fish. That's the biggest fish we've ever caught. You see what I'm saying? But I get it. I get it. No shade. No shade at all. No shade. I get that they're like, hey, we need to do it in our own pace. We need to do it in our own time. Get off our D's. You know what I'm saying? I get it. They need room to breathe. I get that part. But don't be surprised if social media or these online journalists are doing their due diligence and they're going down a path that makes sense. The stuff where they're going, oh yeah, you know, Rebecca faked another pregnancy and she had a whole facelift and had plastic surgery and dyed her hair and took out that tiny bit of that hint of melanin in her skin to look exactly like this woman from a couple decade, like a decade ago. That's insane. That's wrong. That's going off the beaten path. When you start wearing the tinfoil hats and saying ancient aliens did this, that's when we go, no, sit down. Drink this tea. Yeah, no, take this. Sit down. Shh. Okay, you're beautiful. You're beautiful just the way you are. Okay? We're going to go back over here, though. Just finish that tea. Don't spill it. And we'll be right back with you, okay? Just calm down. I know your heart's in the right place. Your heart's in the right place. It's okay. We got you. Okay, but we need you to drink this tea. And we'll be right back. All right? Yeah, and then put that article away. Don't waste your time. Drink the tea. Yeah. Calming you, right? Yes. Okay. We'll be back with you, though, when we get some more information. Okay? And we're just going to forget that even happened. Okay? I love you. Okay. That's what is going on right now. So I get the off the beaten path stuff. Okay? Off the beaten path stuff, with all due respect, we just going to have to pump those brakes and chill and drink that tea. Okay? Drink that chamomile tea and let that calm you down. Okay? And when it's time to really go off the rails, then we'll go. Because this case has already gone off the rails. Okay? This case has already been insane. Okay? The case is insane. Now we got fake inmates. I mean, I feel like that could be true. Do you really think that law enforcement is going to give us everything? You know what I'm saying? Do you really think that the law enforcement is going to be like, yeah, we put in a fake inmate so we can have him squawk? No, they're not going to say that. They're going to be like, yo, we good. Okay? They're not going to tell us everything. So maybe that is true. One thing is for sure, though, back to the story. The chupacabra did it. You know what I'm saying? It's like, oh my God. You know what I mean? The chupacabra did it. You know what I mean? Beautiful, messy ball. Okay. Love you, girl. But here's the thing. All right. They say that he was hurt he was severely attacked, for lack of a better term, by both parents over a period of time. That's one thing. But here's the thing. That means they're talking to a certain extent. Or they're getting this information from an outside source within the family. Maybe the 2-year-old kid. I don't know. Okay? But they are getting some sort of information. Is the couple squawking? I don't know for sure. Okay? But one thing is for sure. Rebecca, at least in these interviews, or at least that interview, which is not fake news. That was a real interview. That is not something that was just been thrown out here in the rumor mill. She really did say he was taken from me. And that Jake is a good father and is a good man and he's never raised his hands on these children. Well, here's the thing though. We just heard from 5-0 and the DA that is a bold-faced lie. They're sitting there going, he should have been locked up. None of these things should have even happened. Emmanuel, if you really think about it, Emmanuel would not have been born, if you really think about it. But still, if he was born and, this piece of trash was locked up, we would not be in this story. We would not be talking about this, right? We would not. But they made it abundantly clear. Their focus really is on Jake, the fake. That says a lot to me, guys. I think she's still playing denial. I think she's still saying, my name's Bennett. I ain't in it. He was taken from me. He was taken from me. That's all she's saying. And like I said, as soon as she gets that orange is the new black loving, okay? Yeah. Okay? As soon as she get that orange is the new black episode and she gets Dawn to thunderclap, she gonna change her mind, okay? She gonna be like, I don't need a man. I don't need you. You ain't even in here. I'm alone in here and I don't have your love anymore. And I just realized I don't need your love. Coco told me so. She loves me. I know what real love is. That's why I got her tattoo on my neck now. I am Thunderclap. I am Thunderclap. I don't need you. Wait for it. Wait for it. Wait for it. It's coming. That orange is the new black. You know what I'm saying? Every page you turn, some actual going on. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Okay. But anyway, here it is. They said that they do not believe Rebecca for what she said. It's a bold-faced lie. I want to know what it is that she said that completely shows proof positive, or what proof that they have that she lied. I'm thinking it's the footage from across the street. Okay? That's what I'm thinking. We don't have it yet. All right? But that's it really, guys. That's all they have. They're still looking for Emmanuel. They don't know where he is. They say that they gave us a little bit of information. Okay? They gave us a tiny bit of information about them talking, which it's Jake. I guarantee you it's Jake. It is not Rebecca. I think Rebecca is trying to play dumb. And she's trying to stay with the script that they both rehearsed. But I think Jake is going off script because he's trying to get a deal. Now, here's the other piece, too. Speaking of deals, there is no deal on the table. They're not offering him any deals at all. Also, here's the other thing, too. There's no DP. So DP is completely erased from the table, does not exist. Consider that gone. Okay? So now it's just a matter of waiting to see who's going to crack, who's going to snap, and who is actually going to tell the full truth and bring this baby's remains back to police so that they can take him to his final resting place. Now, I know that, not Emmanuel. Why am I forgetting his name now? Ahmed. I bet he's mad. I read you guys in the chat saying that he was like, I guess he left. He abruptly left the actual press conference. I mean, I can understand him being, getting sensitive about it. I get it. I ain't mad at him about feeling that way. He's been out there looking. He really has been out there looking. And he is very passionate about trying to find that young boy. Nothing wrong with that. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Sometimes I wish law enforcement would find a better way to address they kept on calling the social media people the keyboard warriors. I just kind of wish that they would be a little bit more, kind, a little kinder than how they are now. You know what I mean? But again, that's just some interesting stuff. Let me get some of these super chats. Okay. If you guys can't hear me, can you hear me on TikTok? If you can hear me, press the number 1 in the chat. Okay. I think the mic is still on. Okay. Okay. You guys can still hear me. Cool. Thank you. So let me get some of these super chats. So Charity, thank you so much for the love. She don't care. She colored her hair before the arrest. She did. I noticed that. Check the roots. That wasn't a root. That was a big ass root. It was like she dyed the tips. It seemed like, which is interesting. Okay. Dolores, thank you so much for the super chat. Very, very sad. Yes. And I think that the press conference was very much it was a nothing burger, y'all. I appreciate them doing the press conference and clarifying a few things. They did not say anything about him confessing, which got him out there in the fields, but it doesn't make sense to me. Okay? That doesn't make any sense to me. Why would they take him out there if he didn't say something about, he's out here on the side of 63 freeway? I don't know. This seems a little bit weird. And I'm hoping that they do more press conferences here very, very soon. Okay? Stacy, what's up? Thank you so much for the love. We're all mentally, emotionally, and spiritually exhausted. Ain't that the mother-loving truth? Okay? It is telling as a society that we are glued to the screen about people committing crimes. Madness. What have we become? I think it's more than that. I think it's different than just, watching people commit crimes. I think it's finding justice. I think it's not every day that we have cases that grab all of us. We really don't. It's like once a year, it seems like, or it has to be something absolutely disturbing. Okay. It has to be an absolute disturbing event, like in Idaho 4, for example, right? That's just so unprecedented, so outrageous, so out of left field, and so terrifying that it feels like we're watching a real life horror flick, right? The aftermath of a real life horror flick. And I think that's what grabs people's attention. And then, of course, at the end of the day, it's also, the person, right? The age, the person, like this situation, you got a little boy, you got how she was lying through her teeth. You see how she's handling the situation. She's acting on TV, okay? Publicly, trying to make it seem like something that it was not. I mean, once you see all those things, I think that grabs people, grabs their attention. I don't think it's about like, ooh, I'm so excited because it's another crime. No, I just think it's like, oh my God, we can't wait for evil to lose. And we want to see it happen in real time. Because it doesn't happen very often when we get to see evil lose in real time and good prevail. We don't get to do that very often, right? We don't get to see that. So when it does happen right there in front of us, we're like, hell yeah, let's see this fall apart. You see what I'm saying? That's at least how I see it, But this one is wild. This one has been a roller coaster ride, real talk. Okay. Oh my gosh. 3 Orion, thank you so much. Wow. Thank you so much. Wow. Thank you so much for the love. I really appreciate it. On behalf of myself and 99 others here in chat, thank you. Wow. Thank you, Orion. Thank you. Okay. I'm just doing my thing. I'm just doing my thing. Thank you so much for the support. That really means the world to me. Thank you so much. And we're not done covering this. You know what I'm saying? We're not done covering this. It's not over. Just because they said, stop getting, these damn keyboard warriors. I mean, we're just as important. We are. We keep a lot of these cases alive. Even when they're not as hot, okay? When there's not as much traction, we're still covering the updates, right? Oh man, what's her name? I'm sorry, hold on. Oh, I feel bad now. This piece of trash. What's his name? Nikki. Okay. Nikki Saley McCain. Remember that case? Remember that case? That was a case that not a whole lot of people were talking about. You know, it wasn't one of those like huge trending topics or anything like that, right? But platforms were out here talking about it. Family members of hers were going on to interviews and having conversations about how her husband is probably the person that did this unthinkable thing to her. And guess what? Wasn't it just about a few weeks ago? Husby finally got arrested. Yeah. Again, just saying. Oh, and Micah, absolutely. All those cases, they would not have the light of day or see the light of day, or they would just be a little blurb back in the day in a magazine or on a newspaper, right? If it wasn't for social media talking about these things. So again, you know, it's a love-hate relationship. I get it. But I think it's incredibly important. Without social media, these stories would just fall through the cracks. Maybe baby Emmanuel's story would just be like a blurb. And then that would be it. But I think that those of us that are out here passionately covering it, talking about it, putting in our opinions, finding as much information as we can, I think it gives the pressure, okay? It gives the pressure on the police to actually get the job done and bring justice quicker. That's what I think. And I think with the Nikki Saley McCain situation, I think that if it was as at the height of the Sebastian Rogers, the Harmony Montgomerys, the Gabby Petitos, the Emmanuel Haro cases, I feel like this guy would have been locked up a long time ago. That's what I truly believe. Rock on. Thank you so much for the love. I bet they tracked their phones and or cars to that location or around August 5th. Chad Bianco is all for justice. He is running for California governor. Yeah. I think that they're doing their due diligence for sure. And I agree too. Somebody said earlier that, there's a lot of things I'm sure that they know that they've already combed through way before the public even knew about anything. And I agree. There's going to be a lot of information that they know. They're the ones with all the timestamps and the surveillance footage and all that. None of us do. None of us have that. We don't have access to that. But at the same time, we have access to start talking. We have access to start asking questions. And rightfully so. That's just our right. We just got to be careful. Okay. Yeah, I saw the thing about the manifesto on the assailant. I saw it. Yeah. I don't know if I can actually show you any of that stuff, to be honest, unfortunately. Community guideline stuff, that kind of thing. But I saw it. That person, that monster's a mess, by the way. Sorry for the left turn, guys, but the tragedy that happened at the Catholic school at church that happened this morning, the assailant had a manifesto, and then he took video of all of his ammo and all that stuff. It's a mess. It's a mess. He's like anti everything. Okay, he's anti everything. Things that are conservative, like conservative views to liberal views, like anti everything. Like it's a mess. It's a mess. It's a mess. We're gonna have to talk about that in another show for sure. Again, Joanne, thank you so much. Thank you for covering this case, Pascal. Of course, and we're not gonna stop. You know what I mean? If there's something to talk about, absolutely, right? If there's something to talk about, we're gonna be here to talk about it. When there's developing news, we're going to talk about it, you know? So we'll see, right? But let's move on. Deborah, thank you so much for the love. You're all are not so. What's Ian? Media. Okay, y'all are independent media. Okay, police are deflecting. I don't like the way they just attacked people. I agree. You see what I'm saying? I just feel like there's another way they could have said what they needed to say rather than, I feel like we're at a place right now in this world where social media is such a huge tool, such a powerful tool that 50 should be leaning more on collaborating and cooperating with these other outlets because not everybody's watching TV. No one's watching TV like they used to. Everyone's on their phones. Everyone's looking at a quick TikTok. Everyone's looking at a quick video or watching a live stream like the Pascal show. Okay, they're busy looking at those things so much that they're not looking at legacy media unless it's like, I don't know, there's a snow apocalypse on the way to your neck of the woods. Come and get your eggs and bread and milk before you get snowed in, everybody. Like, that's about really it. Everything else, you're looking online. Shoot, even the WWE, Super Bowl, stuff like that. You're watching it on the internet now. You're not even watching it on TV anymore. So for me, some people are getting factual evidence or getting leads. And they're just regular internet journalists. So I feel like there should be a time where they stop looking at like, oh, these damn tabloidy content creators. Not all of them are. There's so many really great content creators that are just asking questions. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Dolores, thank you so much. I love your passion for children, Pascal. Thank you. I mean, shoot, they are our future, right? They are definitely our future. And we need to protect them at all costs. So again, baby Emmanuel is nowhere to be found. In fact, let me see. Is he still? Let me see if he's still up on the theater. Like I said, I don't blame. Like, I get it. They gotta keep things safe. And they got to find them, and they got to be able to do what they need to do as far as like, taping off the area, doing their due diligence as far as the investigation and whatnot. But at the same time, I feel like, I think that is important that we find, I think it's important that, like, if you got somebody who's willing to get out there, maybe it's like, hey, I appreciate your energy. Why don't you come over to the sheriff's department and we'll talk and see if we can work something out. You're looking at in an area. What area are you looking at? Maybe I could get some guys out there with you to go and comb that area. But you also got to remember, they may have leads. They probably have leads that they're not telling anybody about. And they're looking into that. That's what they said. They're looking into information. So maybe something's going to happen. You see what I'm saying? Maybe they're gonna hone in on finding Emmanuel super fast. We'll see what happens, though. We'll see what happens. Give it time. But if they come out to the public asking for our help, you know what I mean? That'll be hilarious. I'll be, oh, you said F off. Now you saying come back in? Oh, that's what I feel like Ahmed should be saying. You know what I mean? So Yeah, that's the other part too about the fire. Not aware of the fire next door. It was right across the street. That's weird. Like I said, weird stuff. But it sounds like that had nothing to do with it. They're like, we didn't pay no mind to it. So moving on. Next question. I guess there was no connection, which is interesting. Very, very interesting, guys. You know what? I will pull up. This is crazy. Hold on. So real quick, this is a little bit of a left turn, but this particular person, their name is Robin Weston. Hold on, let me make sure I got that right. Robin Westman. Okay. This is the face, allegedly, of the assailant from this morning. Like he's anti-Trump, pro-trans, anti-Semite. He's so many different things. Okay, trans, allegedly, pro-Russia. Like he's all these different things. He's all over the map. But this is allegedly the person that did what they did at this school. They left a letter. I don't know what the hell he wrote. Okay. He wrote some crazy stuff. Just looking at, it's very crazy. It's like he wrote backwards. He had a YouTube channel. That YouTube channel was taken down. So his name, or their name, is Robin Westman. Okay. Craziness that he was doing a video showing off all of their weapons and ammo and all that stuff, and had all kinds of things scribbled on the muzzle and all that. So again, this is somebody who is just not okay in their own mind. And I can't show you this stuff. I can't show you that stuff. But he's shown they say here, anti-Christian, anti-Semite, anti-Indian, pro-communist, anti-Trump, pro-Russian, pro-trans, and multiple other slogans from current controversial topics and online memes. And this was all over his YouTube channel. And of course, this is showing like his little note, which I'm still trying to understand it's almost like he wrote it backwards. It seems weird. Like his writing is written backwards, or I don't know, maybe he's writing it in a different language. I don't know. Right. But it's very strange. Yeah. It's disturbing, y'all. It's very disturbing. Well, we're going to find out more information as we get closer to more truths. Okay. Police said what they said. They said what they said in that press conference, which was kind of a nothing burger. Okay. And I think this is not going to stop people from going out there and trying to find Emmanuel. It's the same thing like what happened with Sebastian Rogers. I mean, there was a lot of pushback about people going out of their way to try near the end, trying to find Sebastian. But it didn't stop people from going out there and trying to find him. So there's nothing illegal going out there and just taking a look. And I would just say, if you find something, don't touch anything and step back and let police go and get the evidence, right? But we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. I think social media is just as important now as legacy media is today too. Just saying. That's just my thoughts. But that is the show, guys. Again, I appreciate you guys for being here. It really means a lot. Thank you so much for spending the time with me today. It's been a very crazy, action-packed morning and afternoon. And of course, there's going to be more information here. Keep an eye out. As soon as we get that information, we going to talk. Okay? We going to talk. Real talk. But I appreciate you guys. Please do me a favor before you head out. All right? Hit the like button down below. Crush it. Do what it do. Hit that reaction button, please, and thank you if you're watching on these platforms like the TikTok. Okay? Make sure you hit that follow button on my TikTok, Facebook, X/Twitter, Instagram, Twitch, Facebook. I think I said it, but I'll say Facebook again. Kick, Rumble. I'm on all of them. Okay? So follow. Subscribe here on my YouTube channel, please, and thank you. Hit that notification bell. Set it to all so you know when I go live, whenever I upload. Hit that join button down below. Become a member. Shout out to my mods. Thank you so much for holding it down. Okay, because I know that these conversation streets can get very hairy. So I appreciate you always holding it down. Thank you so much. Hit that Patreon. Check it out. And of course, check out PascalMerch.com. Anyway, guys, it is time to get going. Much love to you guys. Stay safe out there. And we'll be talking very, very soon. Be good to yourselves. Be good to one another. This is the Pascal Show. Bye.